Welcome to the CEO Review TV.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to CEO Review Magazine. I am Dipti from CEO Review Magazine. Today, we have the pleasure of hosting Julie Kane, the magazine partner, CEO, and co-founder of Democracy Investments, a groundbreaking company at the forefront of impact. Julie's leadership and expertise have been instrumental in driving positive change in the investment landscape. We are thrilled to have her today to share her insights and perspective on the intersections of interacting and corporate leadership. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you for having me, Deepti.
Yeah, the pleasure is ours. Yeah. Would you please tell our viewers a little about yourself?
Absolutely. So Democracy Investments was actually formed during COVID, and we have a very simple mission and a very simple strategy, and that is to enable investors to be able to support and incentivize democracy with their international investments. My partners and I have been watching how the large all-world ex-US indices had been allocating more and more and more to authoritarian states over the years. And we decided to build a strategy to undo that so investors can get their international exposure while not feeling as much the growth of authoritarian states and supporting democracies.
That's really great. Now, what led you to take on the role of managing partner, CEO, and co-founder at Democracy Investments? And what inspired you to champion investing and make a difference in the investment industry? Can you please share your insights on the same?
Sure. So way back when I started my career serving in the Navy, I flew helicopters and was actually stationed in a country that wasn't very democratic. And so at a very young age, I saw what it was like. I really valued democracy, and I stayed in touch with my friends who are serving over the years. And I am worried, and they're very worried. A lot of people are worried about the direction the world is going, and a lot of countries their democracy scores are going down. And then we saw the invasion of Ukraine. So I decided to. I'd been watching the impact investing world for a long time and trying to figure out what I could do. And we came up with this strategy, which is to use the Economist Democracy Index. The Economist magazine has been publishing the Democracy Index since 2006, using 60 different indicators that roll up into themes such as electoral process, functioning of government, political participation, and civil liberties. So we use that index to create our index. And that way we are both neutrally tilting in a very systematic way. And if we get to be very large, it would incentivize all countries to improve their democracy score to get more capital. So I'm inspired by this direction. So I basically every job I've ever had in my entire career, including my time in the Navy, is coming into play. And I feel very honored to be working in this industry and to have an impact investing strategy that has been getting a lot of positive attention lately.
Yeah, actually, this industry has a great momentum. So yeah, absolutely. So absolutely, your dedication is truly inspiring. Now, what impact investing has gained significant momentum in the recent years? Could you please share your insights on the same, like how investing is reshaping the investment landscape and influencing corporate industry?
Yeah, so sadly, ESG is getting a lot of criticism lately.
Yeah.
You've probably seen a lot of the headlines. We're seeing increased regulation in pretty much every part of the world.
Yeah,
and I think I think it'll be important for companies to be very proactive with their ESG strategies and with their disclosures. And companies who can get ahead on that will do better than those that do not. And I think while we'll see a lot of controversy, ESG is not going away. Impact investing is not going away. I know, millennials are going to be inheriting 30 trillion, and they are definitely want to vote with their dollars. And then you look at the generation behind them, Gen Z is even more upset. And so you can speak for your generation.
Yeah, absolutely, I can totally relate with the same. Yeah, absolutely. And especially when you have talked about the Gen Z point, we can relate it. Yeah, absolutely. So these are totally very fascinating insights, Julie. As impact investing continues to gain transactions, what are some of the key challenges faced by investors and companies in embracing this approach? Could you please share?
Yeah, the biggest challenge is really looking under the hood of these ESG strategies and understanding what impact you are actually having.
Yeah.
So, for example, there are all these environmental strategies that want to divest of fossil fuels. Well, actually, only 27% of the world's fossil fuel reserves are on listed exchanges.
Okay.
So there's a whole 3/4 of the supply out there that is controlled by state-owned enterprises or private institutions. So with a divesting strategy, yeah, you can influence 27%. But then the other thing is, if you're completely divested of all energy companies, you're not incenting the browner ones to get greener. So we prefer, that's why we're doing a tilting strategy. So we can incentivize. And instead of divesting of bad companies or only investing in good companies, we feel like in the long term, an incentive structure where you're tilting is going to encourage, the lesser, in our case, for those not performing well in democracy to improve their democracy scores. And you could do the same thing with an environmental or social or governance strategy.
Yeah.
How can you incentivize companies to improve their practices? I would also encourage investors to really look at the underlying holdings. The other kind of unknown is a lot of these ESG strategies do not account for human rights, which our strategy does. So, for example, a lot of the large international ESG funds, in their top 15 holdings, they have 2 tech companies that are owned by that are controlled by authoritarian states and contribute to their surveillance state. So I like to say, how is that ESG?
These points are quite fascinating. Okay. So we have heard transparency and education are indeed crucial in impact investing landscape. Speaking of transparency, how does Democracy Investments ensure transparency and accountability in its investment strategies and decision-making process?
Oh, thanks for that question. So we have a very transparent and systematic process.
Yeah.
Our methodology is we start with the same basket of stocks that are in the other all-world ex-US indices, same 2,800 large cap and mid cap, mostly in developed markets, 15% emerging markets. And then we look at each security's country of risk. So where the operations and the revenue are, not where they're headquartered. So we're truly capturing the company's country of risk.
Yeah.
And we're not deciding that. We pull that from Bloomberg or Icon. Then we pair that with the country democracy score as published by The Economist. And then we normalize it to be 100. So our portfolio is overweighted in democracies such as Norway, Canada, Japan, the UK, Taiwan, and it's underweighted in China, the UAE, Saudi Arabia. And the tilts are completely neutral and systematic. We're not deciding the tilt. It is a simple math equation. The Economist, according to their very robust, I would say the most robust measure of democracy in the world, is deciding the tilts. So in that way, we feel like we have had feedback that we are completely transparent and systematic. It's really interesting. People who love ESG like our strategy, and people who don't like ESG love our strategy because we are transparent and systematic. We're walking our talk, very simple, and it's very easy to measure. Any country can go look up, it's public information, which of their 60 indicators they need to improve to get a higher tilt.
Yeah, you are like checking each and everything at a micro level. That's truly great. That's truly great. Yeah. As we wrap up our conversation today, could you please share your vision of the future of impact investing and its impact on corporate leadership?
Well, as I said earlier, it's not going away. It's here to stay.
Yeah.
Especially in Europe. I think they're moving faster there than we are here in the US. And I think there'll be more scrutiny, there'll be more regulation, and corporate leaders who get in front of that and are proactively sharing their carbon footprint and what their plans are to reduce it, and are not greenwashing. That will, they'll do better in the long run, and they'll be less risky for investors. They should be rewarded for that.
Absolutely. As the CEO and co-founder of Democracy Investment, how do you see the role of financial institutions and investment firms in driving impact practices and influencing positive change in the corporate world? Could you please share with us?
Yeah, I think companies need to be held more accountable for managing risk.
Absolutely.
And I think what we're missing today in many strategies is we're not accounting for geopolitical risk. And now we're seeing all this shifting in supply chains. How do you know your supply chain is not using forced labor? We know the majority of wind farms and solar panels are created by forced labor. So here you are working on your E, but where are human rights? There's a lot to be done there. And again, companies who can get in front of that and really dissect their supply chain, resupply with partners that are, protecting human rights, will be very important.
Yeah, these are absolutely on the mark point. Yeah. Yeah. With the increasing interest in investing, what advice would you give to CEOs and business leaders who are looking to integrate sustainability impact into their company's core strategies and operations?
Well, sadly, I don't think there's a common source for the data you need to do this right. All the rating agencies are under criticism right now. For example, one of the biggest rating agencies gave an A to an anti-ESG fund, even though they hold oil and gas, tobacco, casinos, etc.
Absolutely.
And then my strategy, we're made okay, but we do hold, the large market cap oil and gas, but we're more in Norway and Canada and less in Saudi Arabia. So we're incentivizing, the companies that are more focused on ESG. We're incentivizing less ESG to become more democratic. So I wouldn't, the data's not there, so you have to do the homework yourself. I mean, there's probably boutique consulting firms that can help to really do it right, because the risk you have is that you go with one rating agency which really hasn't sliced and diced it correctly, and then you're going to be under risk for getting, when the truth comes out. So it's a mess. I was just on a panel at a conference last week, and one of my co-panelists said it's a hot mess, and I thought she summed it up pretty well. It's a hot mess, but it's not going away, and we've got to dig deeper to do it right.
Yeah, me for the same, right? Absolutely right. Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Julie, for sharing your valuable insights on impact investing and its impact on corporate leadership. It has been a pleasure having you here today. And
thank you. The pleasure's been all mine.
Yeah, thank you so much, Julie. And to our viewers, thank you for turning into Enlightenment Discussions with Julie Kane, the managing partner, CEO, and co-founder of Democracy Investments. Stay connected with CEO Magazine Review for more engaging interviews and thought-provoking content. Thank you so much, everyone.
For more information, you can go to www.democracyinvestments.com, and our ticker symbol is DMCY.
Yeah, thank you so much, Julie.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you.